It's a brand new start. Oh, come be the first on your block to.
One impulsive moment destroyed everything Will Smith built over 30 years. Fans abandoned him, studios erased him. But what really happened after the cameras stopped rolling? Tonight, you'll uncover the secret meetings, silent threats, and hidden scars that still haunt him long after that night. Chapter 1. What happened in the 40 seconds that changed Oscars history?
Keep my wife's name out your fucking mouth!
It started like any other glittering Hollywood night, but within minutes, it became the most shocking live moment in award show history.
I'm saying that you saying that if I shoot you in your face, are you saying you won't die?
Imagine millions of viewers leaning closer to their screens, unsure if they were watching a stunt or the end of Will Smith's legacy. You might think you know every detail of the slap that erupted at the Oscars, but if you stick with me, you'll hear the little-known truths that made this moment unforgettable.
This is the man area of the barbecue. You know what? All due respect, we appreciate that.
On March 27th, 2022, the 94th Academy Awards took over the Dolby Theater in Hollywood, dazzling an audience of 16.6 million live TV viewers. Regina Hall, Amy Schumer, and Wanda Sykes hosted with their usual punchy humor, but it was Chris Rock, stepping on stage to present Best Documentary Feature, who detonated the night. Stay here because what happened next turned live television into something no one could ever rewind. Rock looked across the audience and cracked, "Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see it." A reference to Demi Moore's shaved head in 1997's G.I. Jane, but this wasn't just any haircut. Jada Pinkett Smith had revealed her alopecia diagnosis in 2018 and first showed her shaved head publicly in July 2021. And in less than 10 seconds, the mood flipped from laughter to something far darker. For a second, Will Smith actually laughed. His grin flickered across camera feeds, beaming to living rooms worldwide. But when he turned to see Jada rolling her eyes, everything shifted. Within 10 seconds, Will stood up, his tuxedo crisp and shoulders squared, and walked the 20 feet to the stage. With a single open-handed slap, he cracked the sound barrier of celebrity decorum. The microphones caught Chris Rock's stunned voice. "Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me." The Dolby Theater erupted in a mix of gasps and uneasy laughter as millions scrambled to figure out if this was a bit gone wrong. Keep watching because the fallout from that slap would spiral far beyond anyone's imagination. Returning to his seat, Smith yelled twice, unfiltered, raw, "Keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth." In less than 4 minutes, Nar Oscar slap dominated global trends, overtaking every headline. This was the first time in 94 years a live Oscars broadcast turned into an actual physical altercation. And that's what I will tell you more about in just a second. Chapter 2. How did Will Smith's greatest triumph become his greatest shame? What happened?
I'm a woman. I'm a strong black woman. I'm a strong woman. Yeah, because she's not black. Yeah,
When the moment you've dreamed about for 30 years gets eclipsed by the worst 30 seconds of your life. Stay with me, because in just 40 minutes, Will Smith went from triumphant legend to worldwide controversy, and the story behind that descent is even wilder than you remember. Exactly 40 minutes after slapping Chris Rock on live television, Will Smith's name was called for Best Actor. He was the 5th black man ever to win in that category, following legends like Sidney Poitier, Denzel Washington, Jamie Foxx, and Forrest Whitaker, the last to do it in 2007. Under any other circumstances, this would have been a milestone moment, a career crowning that affirmed 3 decades of blockbuster hits and cultural impact. And if you think the tension ended when he held that trophy, you'll want to hear what unfolded just minutes later. Instead, it felt like an uncomfortable punctuation mark after a public meltdown. Smith climbed the steps again, this time without rage, clutching his golden statue. His acceptance speech stretched for 5 minutes and 30 seconds, the longest of the night.
And I wanted to come up with a story that would demonstrate qualities that I'm sure you all admire here, like earnestness.
He started by comparing himself to Richard Williams, saying Richard Williams was a fierce defender of his family. Tears spilled down his cheeks as he tried to justify his actions. Love will make you do crazy things. But behind the scenes, something even more surreal was happening that most viewers never saw. But he didn't apologize to Chris Rock, not yet. Behind the scenes, Denzel Washington, who'd already won Best Actor in 2002, had pulled Smith aside during the commercial break, whispering words that would echo through the headlines. "At your highest moment, be careful. That's when the devil comes for you." Backstage, Tyler Perry, Bradley Cooper, and publicist Meredith O'Sullivan clustered around Smith, urging him to breathe, to center himself. But while they tried to patch together his composure, the internet was already exploding. Stay with me because the numbers behind that digital firestorm are more shocking than you think. During the after party, Smith danced under neon lights to Gettin' Jiggy With It, but no one was watching his victory lap. By dawn, over 40 million tweets dissected every angle of the slap. Google searches for Will Smith slap surged 6,500%, and Oscars ratings spiked 7% in that final hour. What should have been his proudest triumph was now branded forever with a single, unforgettable disgrace. And that's what I'll keep revealing if you stay with me. Chapter 3. How much did one slap cost Will Smith?
And just because you see a black man driving in a nice car does not mean it's stolen.
You might think a single moment of rage would eventually fade, but for Will Smith, that slap became the most expensive mistake of his life. And if you stick with me, I'll walk you through exactly how a few seconds turned into over $1 billion of lost opportunity. The morning after the Oscars, March 28th, 2022, Smith posted a public Instagram apology addressed directly to Chris Rock. I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. But an apology wasn't enough to stop the avalanche, and behind that simple statement, his entire career machine was already starting to collapse. On April 1st, he resigned from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, a move that stunned Hollywood insiders. Just a week later, on April 8th, the Academy formally banned him from all events, including the Oscars, for the next 10 years. However, he was allowed to keep the Best Actor statue that now felt more like a cursed relic than a trophy.
Now, on the one hand, it is very difficult for a man to even speak to someone that looks like you. But on the other hand, should that be your problem?
If you think losing his seat at the Oscars was the worst part, you haven't seen how fast Hollywood can turn cold. While the public watched the fallout in real time, behind the scenes, studios were quietly cutting him loose. Netflix froze production on Fast and Loose, a thriller where he was set to play a criminal with memory loss. Sony halted pre-production on Bad Boys 4, even though the franchise had grossed more than $840 million to date. National Geographic shelved his planned docuseries about the world's greatest wonders, and the project he hoped would redeem him ended up sinking almost as fast. Emancipation, the $120 million Apple TV Plus epic about an escaped slave, finally premiered on December 9th, 2022. Despite Will's massive $35 million paycheck, it landed with a thud. Rotten Tomatoes scored it at 52%, and it barely drew 2 million streams in the first weekend.
First, I want out of here. Second, I want full custody of my daughter. All right?
Industry analysts estimated the grand total of canceled and postponed deals at $350 million. Lost endorsements, YouTube originals, sports brands, and more wiped out another $30 million. Even Westbrook Inc., his production company, saw its valuation shrink by $500 to $600 million. That's how one slap erased over $1 billion in future earnings. But the fallout didn't stop at movies, it even followed him back into the recording booth. Then came the music misfire. In March 2025, he dropped Based on a True Story. The lead single, Tantrum, racked up just 3 million Spotify streams. A sad comparison to Gettin' Jiggy Wit, its 400 million. Morning Consult surveys told the story in numbers. His favorability rating crashed from 79% to 49% in only 3 weeks. If you think that's the end of the damage, there's even more that most people never noticed, and that's what I'll reveal next. Chapter 4. Was Will Smith's marriage always just business?
Quincy taught us all that life is a feast, and you don't stop till you get enough.
You've probably seen the headlines calling Will and Jada the power couple of Hollywood, but what if behind the red carpets and talk show confessions, their marriage was a business deal in disguise? Stay with me, because the story of their relationship is stranger than any tabloid rumor you've heard. Will and Jada tied the knot on December 31st, 1997, welcoming Jaden in 1998 and Willow in 2000. But fame exposes every crack, and some of those cracks started showing years before the slap ever happened. In 2016, Chris Rock mocked Jada's Oscars boycott, joking, "Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited." It planted seeds of resentment that never really went away. Then came a confession that made headlines across the world.
And her grandmother had recorded these voice messages over the last 8 months of her life.
In July 2020, Jada's Red Table Talk went viral when she called her affair with August Alsina an entanglement. Over 40 million people watched them dissect every detail. After the slap, insiders said the the couple had been living separately on and off since at least 2016. With a shared net worth of $350 million, their marriage became a corporate alliance. Westbrook Studios, luxury homes, and intellectual property all tangled together. And if you're wondering why they never split, the answer is as cold as it is complicated. A divorce could have triggered the costliest breakup since Jeff Bezos, Jada told the press. "I never asked Will to do anything." Meanwhile, searches for Will Smith marriage open surged 900% in a weekend. And if you think that was the final blow to his image, the next chapter proves the damage went even deeper. Chapter 5, can Will Smith ever escape the shadow of the slap?
That was a rage that had been bottled for a really long time. But at the end of the day, I lost it.
What does it take to repair a reputation shattered in 40 seconds? Even if you've been Hollywood royalty for decades, some mistakes never fade. This last chapter shows just how far the fallout really spread. The comedy world sounded the alarm immediately. Kathy Griffin warned, "We all have to worry about who wants to be the next Will Smith." Judd Apatow said he could have killed him. Even Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who first praised Smith, deleted her supportive tweet when backlash exploded. Pop culture experts compared the slap to Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift, the La La Land Moonlight fiasco, and Janet Jackson's Super Bowl scandal. But never had an Oscar win been buried so completely under a single meltdown. Still, Smith tried to rebuild. In November 2022, he told Trevor Noah, "It was bottled rage." By June 2024, Bad Boys 4 made $435 million, but critics called it lukewarm. In March 2025, he presented at the Grammys, signaling a slow return. Yet a Variety poll showed 45% were still hesitant to support him.
I also think that's not who you are. I'll be honest with you. I think it's not who you are. I think everybody can make a mistake. And I think...
One thing is certain, no matter what he does next, the slap will always be part of his story. Don't stop here. Tap the next video on your screen to uncover more hidden Hollywood scandals you've never heard about. Hit subscribe so you never miss a story.